Hey everyone, welcome to Digging In. What a year it has been. What an eventful year. And what an opportunity that we have had to walk with you leaders through all the business challenges and personal challenges that you've had this year. It has been quite a privilege, and we are very thankful that we've had the opportunity to do that. So as we look towards finishing out 2020, we really want to slow down and we want to look at your journey, your leadership journey. And what a better leader than we have today is Gassia Gerges. We want to slow down and let Gassia talk to us. We want to hear about who she is. We want to hear about her journey. And we want her to challenge us to slow down, analyze, look at things from gratitude, from an opportunity to be thankful for what has taken place this year, and how do we use these pieces to help us grow. So I'm really excited to have Gassia with us today. Gassia is an entrepreneur at heart. Gassia has owned companies. Gassia has, her company's been in the Inc. magazine, fastest growing. Gassia understands business ups and downs. Gassia understands what it means to go through difficult times and what it means to really grow and to exceed expectations. Gassia has wisdom and insight beyond what most of us understand or experience. And so we have a gem today. Gassia is with us, and she's going to help challenge us to understand, know our story, listen to that, and really have a grateful heart. So, Gassia, thank you for being with us today.
Oh, Melissa, I am so privileged and so honored to be heard and to make me feel like I actually do have a wisdom that is worthy of sharing. And so thank you for honoring my story and my past and what has led me to this point of speaking with conviction about what truly matters in leadership qualities from my perspective at least.
Hmm. So, Gassia, we need to hear your story. What a beautiful, powerful story that you have, and we want to hear from you. So, will you take us back,
Sure.
walk us through your story, and help us learn about you?
Absolutely. So um I am of Lebanese and Armenian descent. My father is 100% Lebanese. My mother is 100% Armenian, and I am obviously 50-50. And so my family, meaning my father and mother, and two sisters, complete our family unit. So it's three girls. I'm the middle child. And we, all of us, with the exception of my mother, were born and raised in Beirut, Lebanon. And mom was born and raised in Aleppo, Syria. And her Armenian history um, resembles, if you will, my journey because uh, the Armenians were 3 million of them were massacred by the Ottoman Turks. And so this is years and years and years ago. And so over 100 now, and they scattered throughout the Middle East. And my mom's family ended up in Syria, and that's where she was born. And so she met my dad. They're bordering countries, Lebanon and Syria, and that's how she met my father. So along with my two sisters, were born and raised in Beirut. And what brought us to the United States, what brought us here was the Lebanese Civil War. And in the early 80s, when we realized, well, my parents realized, gosh, there's no end in sight, seemingly there's no end in sight. It would start and stop and peace talks and the whole nine, which happens all over in the Middle East all the time. My father made the decision that, hey, our kids are too young to be, wishy-washy. Are we staying? Are we leaving? Let's go ahead and migrate, if you will, to this land that opens its borders to folks like us who don't have many alternatives for freedom and opportunity. And we came to the United States, and that's where I attended middle school and high school and obviously college and started my business. So that is in a nutshell the big picture of who I am. From a United States perspective, there's a huge Armenian population in Central California because most are farmers. I mean, of course, they're in every industry from a profession standpoint, but the climate of Central California is very similar to Armenia and Lebanon, for that matter. It's arid, it's not humid, great fertile soil. So, the farmers there obviously came and started their professions where they had the skill and had the opportunity and the tools to do it. And a lot of them ended up in Central California. So grew up in California. I attended grad school in Virginia, in Central Virginia, and then ended up here in Memphis. And it's been 20 years, and I can't believe those words are coming out of my mouth. But yes, I've been here the bulk of, the last 20 years of my life has been in Memphis.
Mm. Wow. So a middle school youth, and you moved to the States, trying to acclimate in the States. You have that experience, which I'm sure had a lot of interesting moments to it, being a middle school student. And you finish high school, go on to college, go on to work on your education. Um, Beautiful journey in that, I'm sure there were very difficult things throughout those times. What was a difficult experience? If you could kind of paint a picture for us, kind of, moving here, adapting,
Sure.
the environment from where you came from. What would be a snapshot? If you could give us a snapshot of something difficult, what would that be, Gassia?
Oh, wow. I think foundationally, one of the most difficult things as a child, already middle school is such a kind of fork in the road where you are really your personality is being shaped either in the right path or the wrong path. And so those years are so critical in the formation of convictions and values and, in general, the person that you will become as an adult. And so already very tough 2 years of any child's life is adolescence, and then to add the immigrant and English as a second language and all of that is just, you can imagine how complex and challenging to try to fit in. Okay, first of all, my older sister is Grace, my younger sister is Karen. Why they decided to experiment with the middle child, Gassia, is but no, let me start with that. It's a biblical Old Testament name. It's Job's second daughter's name in the Old Testament. It's the second half of Job's life. And it's the Armenian translation. So if you look it up in the English scriptures, it starts with a K, and my name starts with a G, Garcia, and so it's the Armenian translation. Anyway, so being in middle school and having such a different name, back then, now it's more common to have unique names, but was incredibly difficult. But I think the biggest challenge at that time was when my parents were trying to get our citizenship. We're naturalized citizens. Obviously, we weren't born and raised in the States. So we are naturalized citizens, not native citizens. And so it's a very complex and lengthy process doing it the right way. And so they came back and forth to the United States. And there was a period of time where they couldn't come back, do the back and forth. You had to establish residency and not leave the States. So they left Grace and I in Beirut, and we lived in different people's homes, and that was very difficult. My sister was raising me, and already she's a child, so that was very tough. But coming to the States, same thing. We lived in different people's homes, and we just took any opportunity and blessing that people showed us, and really just ran with it, if you will. So if there was an opportunity to attend a school where I could ride to school with another family, then that's what we did. And so all of that, just being displaced and not having roots, was, I think, the greatest challenge. The English as a second language. Also, we learned English. I attended Beirut Baptist School in Beirut, so it was a private school, and English and French are taught just like Arabic is. But so I had a foundation in English, but of course, nothing like, you know, you guys have, being born and raised here, and English being your native tongue. And so um, I just honestly, Melissa, there are so many challenges for those formative years, especially in adolescence, that I think just the whole concept of immigrant and English as a second language, or in my case, third language, and adapting to fit in versus standing out, because that's all you want to do at that age. And so, yeah, those, I would say, were the most difficult years.
We study leaders and we see that strong leaders obviously have to have some characteristics about themselves that really cause them to excel. And part of that is perseverance. Really being able to go through difficult times and learn how to adapt, learn how to persevere, learn how to get through those. That's what makes us strong. And so obviously, that started out, early on for you to be able to figure out this situation, figure out, how do you work through this? How do you deal with this? What do you choose to do? How do you choose to learn through this? How do you, grow? So those are characteristics that, we see in leaders and see in you that really sets leaders up to be able to understand risk and understand what leadership really is about, and being able to influence and help people grow and move forward. So fast forward a little bit into the business world, and
Sure.
talk to us a little bit about your journey in the business world. Tell us about that.
Well, what led me to Memphis was an entirely different career. I finished grad school, and I won't harp on that because it's really a very minor point. But um, what I attended grad school at the University of Virginia, and when I finished grad school, I was hired by the University of Memphis as an associate professor. And that lasted 2 years because I loved the teaching and did not at all enjoy the publishing world. I am the first to want to share with my peers, worthwhile data and practices that enhance our practice, but not for the sake of keeping my job. And there's a saying, it's publish or perish, and it was just pumping out literature that really was, in my opinion, a joke, just to have articles published so I don't lose my job. So I was not a fan of that piece of it. And that is truly 75% of your job as a professor in research 1 and 2 schools. And 25% was the teaching. And you can't just like 25% of your career. The opposite is true. You can dislike 25% because every job's going to have aspects that you're not going to enjoy, but 75% you have to love. So long story short, I ended up in IT staffing, and that's where I've been the last 20 years. And Memphis is a great market for that because we have large, massive enterprises here, and smaller to mid-sized companies as well, that are very tech driven, if you will. And so, for example, FedEx is headquartered in Memphis. AutoZone is headquartered in Memphis. The founders are from here. We have International Paper, the largest manufacturer of corrugated packaging, is in Memphis. We have St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. It's truly like the jewel in the crown of Memphis. And it, everyone, the logo is iconic at this point. Everyone recognizes the St. Jude logo. Almost, to me, I'm sure I'm wrong, but like the Nike logo. And so it's that recognizable. And FedEx too. It's like, go in any village globally, and I bet you people will know FedEx. And so I feel that way with St. Jude. And to have a customer um, that impacts lives the way they do, serving them is just the highlight of my existence from a business standpoint. And so I've been doing that the last 20 years. And so the first 6 years I spent with a massive enterprise and really um, learned the profession, because as a massive company that has a monopoly on what we do, they have refined those skills, training, and at every aspect of the role. And it was just truly amazing learning that took place there. Then I went to the other opposite extreme where it was a startup. And so we gave up all our systems that led us to, I feel, that made us highly effective. And I panicked my first year. I'm like, oh, what if I'm not good? What if I can't do this job? It's the systems that allowed me to be effective at it. And then realized very, not quickly, but in short order, that no, it's who you are that
Uh,
results in success or failure, not the systems that you use. And so spent 9 years with that company. And then the last six I have been on my own with One Link Technology. And that's where we've made the Inc. 500 the first year at number 182 of fastest growing private companies in the States. And then last year, the Inc. 5000 at number 518. So we barely missed the 500 cut. And that's how you and I met.
That's right. That's right. Incredible. Incredible. So, you being that visionary, or you can see and envision and understand and analyze. I love that statement that you just said about realizing that who you are as a leader, and that the systems and processes, they don't bring you success. They're helpful in a structure, they're helpful in furthering what you want to further and to create replication, but they're not, it doesn't define who you are as a leader. And so understanding who you are, and you understanding that is such a model for us, because we can get lost in what the large company kind of forms us to be, and kind of lose sight of that sometimes. So I love that early on you started figuring out, this is not where I want to be, this is not who I want to become. I want to be happy in my job, I want to be happy in my career, I want the larger number to represent what I enjoy.